Game on.
Hi, this is Greg from Greg's Game Room, and I'm watching Glen's Retro Show.
Hi everybody, thank you for joining me on today's edition of Glen's Retro Show. Today I'm going to talk about something from the 80s that was a very big fad and has kind of stood the test of time because it's still around today. We're going to talk a little bit about this little guy. This is a good old Rubik's Cube. Now this is not the original one I had. Actually, I never actually had a Rubik's Cube back in the day. There were other puzzle games. One was a ball and one was a triangle. For some reason I had those. I don't even know what they were even called. But this is my son's, and you can see it's not solved. I've never been able to solve it, and neither can he. But in the mail today, I got an item from ChizComm and Super Impulse to review for you guys today. We're going to take a look at Rubik's Tilt. Okay, again, this is the original Rubik's Cube. Again, this is my son's. Never quite solved it. You know, it's one of those things we could sit down for a while, and you always think you're going to get close to solving it, and you keep turning and turning and turning and turning and turning. And, well, that's probably about as good as I ever did. I know a lot of people have cheated. They've pulled stickers off, or people actually pulled the cubes apart and put them back together. But there are people who can and solve it. But when I do that, I still get the same jumbled mess I had a moment ago. So that's that. But I'm obviously more into the electronic games than the old style kind. So Super Impulse and ChizComm sent out to me today their version of what's called Rubik's Tilt. And basically it's an electronic version of Rubik's Cube that you kind of work by tilting the device. Let's take a look at it. Okay, here is the controlled by motion Rubik's Tilt, an officially licensed product by Rubik's, and it's manufactured by Super Impulse. And the packaging is pretty decent. What I like about it the most is it's clipped in like this, so you can remove it and put it back in for display purposes, because people know I'm a little crazy about keeping my boxes. And there's some things right here. There's 3 levels of play. There's an easy, medium, and hard difficulty. But actually, even easy for me is going to be difficult when it comes to Rubik's Cube. It does have a hints feature, which is kind of nice. You can have it set to tell you a hint after a certain length of time or with a button press. So if you're really stuck, you hold down a button or wait a certain amount of time, and it'll give you a hint by flashing a couple of the cubes. There's also a timer, which again, for me, is more hurtful when I see hours go by and I still haven't solved the device. But it's still nice to have those options. Let me show you here on the back. They say twist, turn, and tilt, but it's really just turning and tilting. You don't really twist. You can't really twist the device in 2 different angles. But it's got a nice screen. The timer you're seeing right here, you can set the difference between 30, 20, or the timer on and off. That's for the hints, I'm sorry. So you can have hints completely off, set by 10, 20, or 30 seconds. You have a timer on and off, which will display how long it's taking to play the game. And then there's the 3 different skill levels. Beginner, which is me, which I still can't solve. Cube Solver, and Speed Cuber. So it's a very nice packaging here. It'll definitely grab your attention. You can see this on the shelf. It's kind of bright. But this is like most. There's 2 straps holding it in. Once you cut those straps off, you can do this. Ooh, look at that. And I can put it back in to hold for later on my shelf for storage. And we can see in here is the instruction booklet that comes with it. And I would highly recommend a pair of magnifying glasses if you're over the age of 50, I suppose. Let's have a look at these instructions. Oh, okay. Excellent. Well, the good thing is not only do they include instructions in a paper form, there's also instructions built into the game console, so we can take a look at it there. Okay, so since we looked at the paper version of the instructions, let's take a look at the instructions actually built into the console. We're going to press the blue button here, which will get me the instructions. And when they consider twisting, it's really just still turning the device a certain way. There's turning and what they consider tilting. So you have the 3 modes of access. It shows you 3 buttons on the back and how those buttons correspond to changing the cube's orientation and spinning it. So a very nice little tutorial. I mean, it's kind of nice to show you this way. This way, if you hand it to somebody, they can see relatively simply how to well, play the game without that instruction booklet and a pair of magnifying glasses. You can read it. I mean, that's the whole point. These are supposed to be tiny devices on here. But it's very thorough instructions, including all different ways you can tilt and get the basic movements down. But it also has instructions built into the device as well, which is kind of nice. We'll put this thing down here for a second. And of course, always welcome is the little catalog that comes with the Super Impulse. They have all these different things, including a very small, actually you can see it right here, they even have a very small Rubik's Cube right there as well. And a keychain. I've not seen anything from Super Impulse that wasn't a quality item and fun to have. Look at this, light brights. I mean, this is right up my alley. This is some good stuff. I gotta find a magic 8-ball. I definitely want to take a magic 8-ball around with me. Tiny Lincoln logs. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things that they have here. And again, the stuff is not expensive, but the quality is very, very good. Look at that, even an Atari joystick. Very, very nice. There's some things I'm gonna have to take a look at. We'll put that aside. We're gonna put these both back in the package. We're not gonna be looking at the box anymore. Not too much more to tell. But let's take a look now at the Rubik's tilt itself. So let's tilt this thing up here a little bit, get a little bit close to the camera here. So you can see there's these colors in the front. They don't mean anything. They're just decorations. The back is where the magic is right here. So you have your on-off switch. Your 3 AAA batteries are in here, held in with a screw. Then you have these 3 buttons here, and this one here. Now the 3 buttons are going to be on this side, 3 buttons. And they correspond when you tilt the cube in a certain way. When you press a button, those are the rows that will turn on the cube. So if you press this down and tilt it one way, a row will go this way. If you flip it, it'll turn the other way. You can hold down 2 and 2 rows will go, or maybe hold down these 2 and these 2 bottom rows will go, or all 3 and the whole cube will turn. I'll show you that in a little bit. And then here you can see right now that I pressed the hint button. So the 2 lights flash to let you know it's going to turn a certain way. So that's what this button here kind of does for the most part. There's another hint. And it will do the turn for you. I was using this a lot because I got stuck quite easily. But let's actually try a game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this thing off and back on. And the screen, I hope it comes across on the camera well, because it is very, very vibrant. All the Super Impulse ones are. And you can see there's different options here. There's instructions right here. So it's showing you how to twist like this, turn like that, and then tilt like that. And then you have the A, B, and C buttons on the back. So if you press the A button here, B button here, and the C button here, and then you have a settings button. So you have your level of difficulty. I am definitely going to set to the beginner mode. And then you have your hints. I'll leave hints on at 10 seconds. That's fine for me. No! Actually, I want to go down to 10 seconds, don't I? And then I'm going back the wrong way. And then we have the timer option and sensitivity. And sensitivity is pretty much fine for me. You can set each individual button to a different sensitivity, but I don't really need to change anything here. I'll leave it back to where it was. And go back out of here. I want to go back this way. There we go. Bloop. Okay, I'm going to go back out here. So we're back on the main screen. Let's start a game up. So I hit the button on this side here, the yellow one. That's pretty jarred. So again, I'm going to press the top one, the green button first, and I'm going to tilt it. I'll tilt it again. And again, you can see how the cube goes. I could do it this way. And then I could do, I think, back, and then twist and turn. So then the white button here moves your middle row in different directions. And then the blue button allows you to do the last one. Now, like I said before, you can hold down 2. So I'm going to hold down the white and the green at the same time. You can see 2 rows are turning. Or I could do the blue and the green, and they'll turn. So the only thing that is difficult, that's easy with a true Rubik's Cube, when you have a real Rubik's Cube, like this one right here, it's just a little bit easier to know I'm going to turn these 2 rows, or turn these 2 rows when I do it. I'll know, because my hand is actually doing it. You just got to get used to not only the 3 buttons for the rows, but which direction you're tilting will move certain rows. So that's my center that way, now that way. No! So what's my final thoughts of the Rubik's Tilt by Super Impulse? It's a nifty little toy, I'll say that. The controls work fairly well. You have 3 buttons on the back for tilting. It does have a little hint option, which will help you along the way, which obviously I'm going to use quite a bit. The screen, like on all of them, are pretty bright. Very easy to see the screen. Sound effects are basic, but it's a Rubik's Cube. Not a lot of sound effects in it. You know, for your kids, it might not be a bad old thing to pass the time versus just a regular game. There's some strategy involved in trying to figure out how to move them around. Again, I'm no one to talk. I've never solved the thing ever, and I didn't with this either tonight. But I will be trying it again and doing it. Now, that's not to say that this is any less fun, because this also is fun too, being able to physically turn this around. But for something different, this is not bad. So if you want to take a look at it, I'm sure you can find it in any store that sells Super Impulse products. So give it a try for yourself and see if you like it. I want to once again thank you all for joining me on today's edition of Glen's Retro Show. If you did like the video, please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and no matter how you do it, remember to game on. I'm not going to solve this thing.
Glen at the Tiny Arcade fan page. Remember, don't admire people too much. They'll disappoint you.
Sit, Blue Blue, sit. Good dog.